So you guys have some questions and I have some answers. Let's jump straight into it. Also, by the way, these questions come from Instagram. If you wanted to be featured on the next Q&A, make sure you follow me here on Instagram at Marcus Hustle. That is my only account, by the way. There are so many fakes, so just be aware. Make sure you spell it exactly like this. That's my only account. Make sure you ask me a question and you might just be featured in the next YouTube video. And by the way, these questions in particular are going to be specifically about OFM. I might do another Q&A where it's just a general based Q&A about my life, my journey, and you can ask me anything. But these ones I've specifically chosen just about OFM. And the first one that I see is, how did you get started with OFM? Now, I've definitely mentioned this before in a previous podcast, but I don't know if I mentioned it on a YouTube video before, but this was about 3 years ago at the time of this recording. I was running an agency like SMMA, like a marketing agency already prior. I was traveling, I was in Spain at the time, and I was just seeing this one chick. I didn't know what she was doing until she told me that she was doing Onlyfans after a little while. I knew what Onlyfans was, but I definitely didn't know the ins and outs of it, nor did I ever think of it as a business idea whatsoever, right? So it wasn't until she was showing me with her own phone how much money she was making. And for me, straight away, the idea of, okay, how could we make you more money came in. And really and truly, there was just two issues that she was having. One, she just didn't know how to get more fans and how to get more people to the site, which was then followed up by issue number two, which was marketing. And at the time, like I said, I was running a marketing agency, and it just made sense for me to explain how different social media platforms work, how content works, and how to go viral on social media. So I helped her with that. I helped her increase her earnings. And then from there on, she wanted to work with me on a long-time basis. And for me, I had a pretty successful agency at the time already. So I said, look, if you want me to do it, we have to do some sort of a split, because I've always taken a lot of time and energy from my other businesses, but I'm happy to help you because it was pretty simple for me. From there on, we just simply figured out to do a 50-50, because at the time in my head, it literally did not even make sense to charge her like $1,000 or $2,000. One, it wouldn't be worth my time. And two, I mean, I don't really want to ask her to just randomly pay me like $1,000 or $2,000. So from there on, I said, well, look, why don't we go 50-50? Because I will do all of the marketing. You just carry on doing what you're doing on OnlyFans. I hope you just bring in all the fans and you do the rest of it. And that's essentially how it all started. From there on, I moved back to the UK in Manchester, and that's where I met my business partner, Harry. And from there on, we really started looking at it as a real business and started to hire people, get more clients on board, and so on and so on. The rest is history. Which also, by the way, ties into the next question, which is, why did I quit my SMMA? So for anybody who doesn't know what SMMA stands for, it stands for Social Media Marketing Agency, right? You're pretty simple. You're a marketing agency. You provide marketing services to loads of other businesses, be it car dealerships, dentists, chiros, whoever. And your job is to predominantly do paid forms of marketing, but there are so many different ways of doing it, and you bring them in more clients, and it's as simple as that. So at the time of me meeting that chick, like I said, who was doing OF already, I had been doing this for about 4 years at SMMA. So I had a lot of extensive experience, and it was going pretty good. I was making a decent amount of cash. At the time, I was able to retire my mum, so I'd done that. Then the next thing is I was traveling, and I was staying in all the nicest places, doing all the fun things that I wanted to do. So I was already in a decent financial position. However, I ended up actually quitting SMA and just leaving the agency for one main reason. And there's actually one of my first ever YouTube videos, and you can go back on my channel. I haven't privated it or anything, because I like to keep these things for kind of memory's sake. I specifically made a video explaining why I quit SMMA. If you go on YouTube and you search why I quit SMA, I think my video will probably come up at the top. The main reason was the fact that I just got bored. Like, I might sound like, oh wow, well, like, wow, you got bored. But no, look, I think and this is what I said in that video, I think for every business owner, I mean, I can maybe just speak for myself, but we all like a challenge. We all like to build something and then get better at something and then develop a skill and improve and so on and build something, right? So by this point, about 3 years into running a marketing agency, by all means, I am not going to say that I knew absolutely everything there was and I was like the best marketer in the world. However, I had tried and I'd worked with like pretty much every client that I wanted to. And if you've never done Facebook ads or Instagram ads for that matter, it's pretty fucking annoying, because you post one wrong ad, your ad can get blocked, and then your ad account can get disabled. From there on, it's a pretty long and annoying process from getting it reinstated or creating a new one. And just that whole concept in itself was just so annoying, because when that happens, Your client is getting pissed off. You are trying to contact Facebook. They don't reply. They reply once in a week. And it was just so fucking annoying. Plus, I wasn't enjoying it anymore because like I said earlier, it was just boring to me. I wasn't really that excited about running Facebook ads for law firms, which is what I was doing at the time. And anyway, so then OFM came into the world. For me personally, I didn't know anybody else who was doing OFM at the time. I was one of the first people, and it was just so exciting. I really saw a massive gap in the market. It's basically model management, like managing influencers, but it's a lot more lucrative because it's an OF rather than managing influencers and hoping that a boohoo deal comes about once in a blue moon and you make like 10, 20,000 from that deal, right? For this, it was something that made so much sense to me and nobody was doing. So I went all in with my OFM, and again, rest is history. The next question is, what do you think is the most important skill to have for OFM? Great. So there's a couple of things that come to my mind. However, I know for sure the one thing that is the most important, and it might sound very like generic and broad, but I can talk about it, which is like how to manage people, right? Again, I've mentioned this in loads of other previous videos, but OFM is just a service-based business. You're an agency that's providing a service to another person, right? So you need to make sure you understand how to deal with people. Again, I know this might sound like such a simple thing and sounds like common sense to a lot of people, but a lot of people, they don't understand, one, how to take cues from people, like when somebody's upset or pissed off or unhappy. You also don't know how to manage whenever something is going wrong. I think a lot of people get very emotional within business in general, and you need to detach your emotions and look at the base facts of what's going on, right? Are we a little bit underperforming this month compared to last month? All right, let me take full responsibility and what can I do to improve this, right? Like these things like that are so important because a lot of people, they can see their own eyes, numbers don't lie, that maybe they're doing a little bit worse this month than they were last month, and they just don't say anything. They don't bring it up to the client and hope that the client doesn't notice. That's the worst thing that you can do. Of course the client is going to fucking notice. You need to bring things like this to the client's awareness and say, look, trust me, I know that this month isn't going as we expected. I reckon it's because of so-and-so. I take full responsibility. So to actually improve, we're going to be doing this, this, and this, just so you know we're on top of it. All of a sudden, you've been able to avoid so many problems, probably retain the client, and you're going to be able to build the business a lot better. So I think the number one most important skill is people management, both the client, but then also the staff members. Everything that I just mentioned there is the same with staff. If you're jumping on calls with staff members and you can see they're a little bit they're not really talking to you as much. They don't seem that energetic. Something's up. You need to know these things. You need to pick these up and address it. And I think that's the most important. I know the question is what's the most important skill, but I think the second one is of course marketing. But that's pretty obvious. I think you need to know how to do marketing. If you don't, we have an online course that teaches you exactly how to do that. Link in the description. The next question is, what would you recommend to someone who's looking to start an online business, but they have no experience? Great. I mean, you could use this question and take out online business with anything, like literally anything. Football, singing, filmmaking, editing, literally anything. And the answer is still the same, which is just do it, just experience. The experience is the best thing. You need to make failures, you need to fuck up, right? And you need to learn from those mistakes and those failures because there's a lesson within that. I think Tate says this all the time. I think people learn two ways. It's either hard or really fucking hard, right? Like the hard way or the really hard way. And it's so true. There's no like easy way. It's always comes down to like making a mistake. Okay, maybe I should have done this differently to avoid this mistake. Next time I'll do it this way. You do it next time. Okay, maybe you fail again. Maybe try this way. And then the second time you actually get it the right way. And all of a sudden you've learned that lesson and you won't make that mistake again. There is one thing that you can do to avoid all of that. If you have the budget, you're able to invest into coaching and mentorship because these are people who have done exactly that over a long period of time. For example, I'll use myself as a great example. I've been doing this for about 3 years at the time of this recording. Do you understand how many OF accounts I've managed, how many agencies I've helped? I think it's over about 800 at the time of this recording as well. So I have seen pretty much every mistake you can make from 0 to 10K, 10 to 50, 50 to 150, and so on, right? So there are so many different bottlenecks and issues that you can run into in different stages of the business. And if you're trying it all by yourself, then the only way to learn is exactly how I said, by just making a mistake, learning from it, and then repeat until you get the answer. Or you're able to invest into coaching programs or mentors who have done that problem or have had that issue, and now they already have the answer and they just give it to you, which fast tracks your success. The next question is, what is in the free training? Yes, it's I get this a lot actually. Like a lot of people are, oh, you mentioned this free training a lot in your videos. So yeah, if you guys want, there's an entire 1 hour free training link in the description. And in that training, we cover everything you need to know from completely zero. If you're watching this and you don't even know what OFM stands for, it's perfect for you. And we also cover some high level tactics on how you're able to automate and systemize your agency, where you have people working for you and you're able to then do whatever you want, whether that is traveling, driving that car, or doing whatever the fuck you want to do. So in that training, within about an hour, I think it's a little bit less than an hour, I get straight to the point exactly how to start, how to get your first client. I even mentioned the exact tools and softwares you need to actually get started as well. So if that's something that you want to watch for free, there's literally no, you don't need to pay for anything. Go ahead and click the link down below. There's an entire free 1 hour training. The next question is, what is your favorite thing about OFM? You know, it's funny, I've done so many podcasts and even when I've spoken to like my boys from back home, etc., they always obviously joke about like, oh yeah, you get to see the content, this and that. Like, great. Sure, but come on, grow the fuck up. It's not that deep. Like, if you're above the age of 18, I feel like, all right, like, it's not that deep. I think if I'm gonna give like a serious answer, the best part genuinely is actually helping a lot of people. One of our models bought her a brand new car, and she sent us the picture of, I think it was a BMW or a Mercedes, I can't remember. And then the message she sent afterwards. I've done loads of Zoom calls and interviews. They're on my YouTube channel. I've even gone to visit one of my old previous clients. We don't work with her anymore, but it's still on my YouTube channel. And just seeing them in person or speaking to them and just them hearing, or me hearing their stories about how we've been able to help them, whether it is to, you know, help them quit their uni that they didn't want to go to anyway, or quit their shitty 9 to 5 that they didn't want to do. They're now able to travel, buy that fucking Chanel handbag or whatever they wanted. I think these things matter a lot. So I would probably say that's my favorite thing. Okay, so the next 2 questions, I'll distill it down into one, which is, number 1 is, do I need business experience to start? And number 2, do I need money to start with OFM? The answer to both is just no. It's as simple as that. Does it help? Of course it fucking helps. You know, it's the same as like if you're going to be going into, I don't know, let me try and think of like as an example. I don't know why football comes into my mind. You know, does it help if you have like the best hydration drink and you have the best coach and you have the best football boots and you're training at the best football club? Of course it's going to fucking help. But do you need it? No. That you've heard so many stories of incredible footballers who have started literally with nothing, playing with fucking bare feet as kids, right? So the idea is the same. You don't necessarily need it, but of course it's going to help and help you advance, you know, in your progress to success. Again, for me, yes, I did have experience in business because, like I said, I had been running an SMMA. But out of the 800 people that I've coached who have started an agency, I'd probably go as far as 80, if not 90% of them have never had any business experience. And this is the first ever business that they're running, and they're pretty successful. If you wanted to watch any of their interviews that we've done, again, you can find them on my YouTube channel. I don't know, maybe done like 10, 15 YouTube interviews of them, and they shared their entire story themselves. You can hear it from their own mouth, how they've just started and where they are now, making 10, 15,000 a month. So guys, that is it for today's video. I have a meeting coming up in a couple of minutes here. So I'm gonna end this video here. If you wanted to ask me a question as well, again, ask me here on Instagram at Marcus Hustle. Check out the free 1 hour training as well, as I mentioned earlier in the video. That'll be the first link in the description, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.